I can always count on my followers to challenging me to some of the hardest lure designs known to man. Now, today is no exception. Matter of fact, today is the rule. This is a Niangua darter. This is a endangered species located in south central Missouri. It's not completely south. It's not completely central. South central. And it is endangered, so one of the biggest problems I had with this was getting a good picture of these. Now, the Missouri Conservation website has it, but there's no red or blues on it. And a lot of the other pictures have the red or the blue. And I figured if I'm going to do it, I got to put the red and the blue on there. So that's what I did. And this is a longer video, so I had to come up with some talking points. Look at me. And this video and this lure is a good example of trying hard things. And this can translate not just to lure painting, but to life in general. But today we're talking about lure painting. A lot of new painters, they kind of get intimidated, and I'm speaking from experience. This isn't me calling out anybody. This is stuff I've learned myself. You get intimidated when you want to learn a new design. First, it was a bluegill. I'm like, man, I'll never be able to learn how to paint a bluegill. And I push it off. I'll paint it next week. I'll paint it tomorrow. Eventually, I decided, well, if you want to paint lures, you're going to have to know how to paint a bluegill. It's like one of the most common requests. So I sat down, and it took me a while, but eventually I got comfortable with my design. And then over quite a while now, I've improved it and made it more of my own, and it just keeps improving. It's never a finished work. Another example is a crawdad. Now, I've never been too pleased with the crawdad stencils, and it's not that they look bad, it's that I just don't like doing the same exact thing everybody else is doing. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but I like to use stencils when I can. I prefer to use stencils that are my own, that I've made, so then I can really claim they're my own. That's not always the case, but a crawdad is very difficult to learn, and that's one I pushed off for, months. And eventually, like I said, I sit down and I do it in a day, and then I'm like, wow, that wasn't too bad. So it's a good life lesson. The hardest something's going to be is on the first day. The second day, it's definitely still going to be hard, but it won't be as hard as that first day. I think of a silver shad, not necessarily that hard. Now, you can definitely improve on a silver shad, but do a silver shad, you're like, that's sweet, that's cool. It doesn't have that same reward, where if you do a crawl, or if you do a Niangua darter, or a speckled darter, or a palomino trout, whatever it is, something more intricate, that reward isn't nearly as good. It doesn't feel as good. And that's just life in general. You gotta chase the hard stuff. So enough of me talking about my random rant about trying hard things. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing in this video. So I laid down some blue-green, and if you look at a picture of the Niangua darter, it's not necessarily just blue. It kind of has a hint of green almost, and it's not completely blue. It has kind of like some U-shaped, I don't even really know what you would describe them as, some U-shaped patterns along the edges. So luckily I had this stencil I made a while back, is a crappie stencil that I don't use. But as I was looking at it, I'm like, well, a lot of these would work pretty good for this. And what I'm doing with it is I'm putting it along the edges, and I'm spraying. I'm not spraying directly at it, because then it'd just be completely black, but I'm spraying at the very edge where I'm kind of getting the overspray to make that shaded pattern along the edge. And it worked pretty well. I think it came out pretty good. I think if I were to try this again, I would probably sit down and design some that were more specific to a Niangua darter. But as they say, nothing's perfect in nature, so nothing's perfect on my YouTube channel. That's a sorry excuse, but you can always rely on that nothing's going to be perfect. And like I said earlier, there's not very many pictures of these online. So it's very open to artistic interpretation. It's like one of the greatest phrases known to man, artistic interpretation. if you do something bad painting, artistic interpretation. Do something good, artistic interpretation. You could almost just put eyeballs on a blank lure, clear coat it, and tell everybody it's your interpretation of a ghost shad. It is ghost. Who's to tell you it's not? It isn't, but quite frankly, I might do that one next. A tutorial video on how to do a ghost shad. Now, this is one part of the video that I'm not crazy about. I'm not too crazy about these front scales that I did. I don't really know what I would have done differently in retrospect. I think I had the idea down that it needs to be shaded and you need to spray close to the edge or farther from the edge of the stencil so that you get that overspray. If anything, I'm thinking I probably would have added some brown into this. That would have definitely helped. And I'm a big sucker for scale stencils. I know I've said that in the last video. I found this one, ironically, at a thrift store. It's actually a thrift store where all the money goes to dogs. It's like a shelter, so that's one of my favorite places to go look for mesh stencils or thrift stores. It's a good excuse to get out of the house and go spend money, and quite frankly, not that much money if it's at a thrift store. And I will mitigate this complete black back in the end by adding some shifter over it, and that'll make it blend a little bit better. And as always, you got to do the black eyes. Makes the eyes in the end look significantly better. It just makes it blend in, where sometimes you put an eye on there and it doesn't have the black eye slot, eye hole, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really look that good. Now, another thing I noticed about the Niangua darter is that they have a red belly. So that's what I'm doing right here. We're just going to add the red belly, and in the end of the video, I actually come back and I will add more red onto this. I didn't think there was enough red initially, or at least at the end when I was going over it. Because before I clear coat everything, you got to give it one last look. Like, how could I improve this? If I could improve this, what would I do differently next time? Is there anything I can do this time? And I decided just to bring that red all the way up. I thought it looked fine right here, but I just figured it looked better. I planned on putting these dots on one at a time with a nail art kit, but after thinking about it and how much time I had in it, I'm like, this would probably work pretty good. So that's what we do. We just put some nice little pretty red dots, and I'm really trying to blend these in with that belly. I'm trying to, if that makes any sense, I'm trying to find dots that are almost connected and put that at the bottom so it looks like it comes up into those scales. So I decided to cut that down quite a bit. It was like 3 minutes of me talking about it. So here I am. I put some shifter on. I can't remember which one I used. It's like green. I want to say blue maybe, or silver. I honestly don't know. But this, I think, really makes it look more like a fish. If you ever look at a crappie, for example, they have a glimmer to them when you turn them to the side. Now, not all fish have this, but almost every single fish does. I wouldn't say every single one, but a majority of them. I've never seen a darter in person, but I'd imagine with how colorful these are, they definitely have some glimmer to them. And here's the part in which I was talking about where I came back and put more red on it. I just think this looks so much better. It just, regardless of trying to go for an exact replica of a darter, I think it just looks better. And also, another thing. See, I'm putting these black eyes on. Now, if you look at a darter, they kind of do have eyes like this, but I came back off camera and I changed the eyes out. I decided to do some brown ones. I just did not like the way these look. I haven't really found very many lures where this eye looks pretty good. It's not a bad looking eye, but it just doesn't really, I just didn't match with this lure. I just don't know how else to put it. So I come back and you'll see it here. I put these brown eyes on it. This is the final product. I'm happy with it. I can sleep tonight. I think I gave it a good shot. So make sure you guys subscribe. Follow me on all platforms, Minmo Tackle, whatnot, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And thank you guys for coming in and hanging out. I appreciate the support. If you want to see something, comment it below.